Indeed, disturbing testimony there in that statement from the EU Human Rights Commissioner. Let's get more on this from Rory O'Keefe. He's a specialist on the legal and political aspects of migration and also runs a humanitarian analysis service called Koraki. He joins us by Skype from Thessaloniki in Greece, and it is good to have you with us. Let's just clear up some of the language right now. Are these people migrants or are they asylum seekers?
I think we have to treat them as if they are asylum seekers until the point at which they fail to apply for asylum. The law is very, very clear on this. People are entitled to cross a border, to enter a country, and then, and only at that point, they are obliged to express their desire to apply for asylum. So I think at this point, we have to treat them as if they're asylum seekers. Even if they were migrants, there would be a case that the way that they've been treated is morally terrible and arguably illegal. But yes, at this point, I think asylum seekers is the only sensible term to use. OK, because we are hearing, and I'm looking at this report now from the EU Human Rights Commissioner, who's talking about ill treatment, sexual violence, other abuses committed by state agents in Belarus, talking about pushbacks. And my understanding is that pushbacks are illegal under international law when people are trying to claim asylum. I mean, is any of this legal? Is it legal for Poland to erect fences and push people back if they have a legitimate claim of asylum? It's not legal for them to erect fences or to deploy as they have done. I mean, at the moment on the Polish border, I apologise, but there are 5 armed people for every 1 man, woman and child who is attempting to enter Poland. And no, it's not legal. It's absolutely illegal. And I mean, I know why you said if they have a legitimate claim to asylum, but in fact, we don't know whether they have a legitimate claim to asylum until they're allowed to apply for asylum. And so at this point, no, it's absolutely illegal what Poland is doing.
Well, at this stage, the EU is standing full square behind Poland and its actions. Is the EU breaking international humanitarian law at this stage as well?
Fundamentally, yes. One of the arguments that's been put forward, and it's quite interesting, I heard your correspondent mention that in the last couple of hours it's come to light that in conversation with Angela Merkel, Alexander Lukashenko offered that there should be 2,000 people allowed to enter Poland, allowed to enter the EU through a humanitarian corridor, and the European Union has dismissed that idea out of hand. Yes, the European Union is acting absolutely illegally, and it knows it is. The European Union knows international law, Poland knows international law, the Polish government knows international law, and they know that they're breaking international law.
Is Belarus a safe country? Could these, because critics will say they've already arrived in a safe country, if people legitimately want to apply for asylum, could they not do it there?
Well, there are 2 questions to be raised there. The first is the concept of a safe country does not actually hold any sort of specific status in international law. There is no obligation for anybody to apply for asylum in the first country that they reach. They are entitled to continue moving until they reach somewhere that they want to gain asylum. The second thing is, yes, over the last few days, I think that there is a very strong case to be made that we can't really argue that Belarus is a safe place for these people.
Okay.
If, as
I'm sorry to jump in. It's interesting you say that there's no obligation for people to apply for asylum in the first safe country they reach, because that does seem to be the narrative that many countries in Europe, particularly in the north of Europe, put forwards. But we are running out of time. Just quickly, it's clear from your testimony here that the EU, Poland, Belarus, everyone essentially, is breaking international law. So how do we bring these people to justice? Who enforces this?
It's a very good question. At the moment, there really isn't a body that could hold a political bloc the size and wealth and power of the European Union to account to this. I would suggest that anybody who is unhappy might think about attempting to raise a case at the International Criminal Court. But fundamentally, there is no force that can force the European Union to uphold and to protect and to abide by international law. And this is a challenge to the entire international legal system at this point.
OK, Rory O'Keefe, great to get your thoughts. Thank you very much indeed for joining us on the Al Jazeera NewsHour.